Welcome to the Catholic Leadership Network podcast, where we connect the wisdom and experience of ministry leaders to the realities of ministry in the trenches. We journey with ministry leaders through all the hidden aspects that help us to become fruitful ministers. Here at the Catholic Leadership Network podcast, we discuss the stuff that no one told you about Catholic ministry and strive to help ministry leaders succeed from the beginning. Our hosts are Christy Cabanis, the Director for Missionary Discipleship for the Diocese of Cleveland, and Sarah Jarzembowski, the Director for Marriage and Family Life at St. Elizabeth Ann Seton Parish in Crofton, Maryland. Please show your support for our efforts by clicking like and subscribe and commenting below. And now here are Sarah and Christy. We'll see how the Lord moves this. But the conversational flow. So, all right. Hi, everyone. We're back with the Catholic Leadership Network podcast. We're here today. Christy and I are here with Father Rafael Capo, who is the Vice President for Mission and Ministry, the Dean of Theology at St. Thomas University. He's a priest of the Archdiocese of Miami and a missionary of mercy appointed by Pope Francis himself. Very, very cool. National Eucharistic preacher by appointment of the U.S. Conference of Bishops. He formerly served as director of the Southeast Bishop's Office for Hispanic Ministry, or SEPI. He has served as school president, a vocations director, and professor of theology, holding degrees in educational leadership and theology. He participates in major organizations of Hispanic ministry, the Fifth Encuentro leadership team, and is advisor to La Red National Network of Pastoral Juvenil. He's actively present on social media with an emphasis in ministry to young people, calling to fitness of body, mind, and spirit. Father Rafael, yes, showing the guns. Oh, Father Rafael, I feel like I have known you forever, and it's just yesterday. I want to say the first time that you and I met was at a La Red membership meeting. I don't even remember where that wound up being, but I remember you came up and we started talking about our favorite Disney.
Yes, that wasn't in the bio, but that you could add that as well.
Yeah, we could add that to the bio. We're Disney fans, and so it's always good to find something non-church related that we can talk about as friends and colleagues. So we've talked about Disney, but you've had so many different ministries that you've been connecting with, but the Hispanic ministry seems to be the one that I've known you through the most. And now you have this fancy dancy title. You have a couple fancy dancy titles. Vice President for Mission and Ministry, Dean of Theology. You're Mr. Smarty Pants there, man.
Nothing important. Just
impressive.
Just serving our young people.
Just serving, and humble to boot, everybody. Father Rafael is and he really is humble. Just wonderful to chat with. Last time I was in the same space with Father Rafael was at World Youth Day. It was very, very cool to see Father Rafael. Made the hike out to the pilgrimage site, to the vigil site, with his crew from St. Thomas. And don't we see some of your St. Thomas crew in the video for the World Youth Day song, the English version of the World Youth Day song? So that's very cool as well. Just all over the place.
Yeah, well, so proud to help out and serve the church. So especially the young church. So happy to be there.
That's outstanding.
That's fantastic. Well, let's kick it off, Father Rafael. Could you give us a quick intro into how you got started in ministry and then what led you to the priesthood?
Well, I get that question from lots of young people, and depending on how much time I go deeper or not. But to tell the truth, I identify myself with that text from Jeremiah that says, before I made you in your mother's womb, I chose you before you were born. I set you apart to be a prophet of the nations, blah, blah, blah. I kind of identify myself with that, because my first recollections in early childhood, as I was getting prepared for First Communion, all those moments, I remember moments where the thought of a vocation was there, and I have to, I a little at times don't like to share this, but well, you asked me and I'm saying it. I used to play saying mass when I was a kid with my homemade mass kit, but I was hiding from my parents and my brothers. I would do it like by myself. I remember stealing my grandma's missalette and using that, but it was a old Latin English missal. So I don't know how I was doing it. But I used it to pray and to say mass. And as years passed, well, that I forgot about that for sure. And even the thought of priesthood was like, no, I really don't want to be a priest. And as I was in high school, I was running away from the possibility, like literally running away, and being invited to vocations retreats or to consider the possibility, I would just say no. I'm not going to be a priest. So I was kind of like looking to go to an Ivy League school, getting a scholarship, and I finally got the scholarship. And at the same time, I was like, I need to consider this. And the whole thing happened during the kind of like the first World Youth Day in 1985.
Wow.
And that played a very important role in my being hit by the Lord's call at that moment, and listening to the words of Pope John Paul II. I was asking for signs, and coming back from that trip, which had several very impactful moments, I decided to go speak with a priest. But it was just to like be able to say, talk with a priest about the possibility, check, and just move on, because I was just expecting the answer from the universities, etc., at that very moment. And I spoke with a priest on February the 2nd, 1985. I didn't realize it was the feast of the presentation of the Lord. I didn't know that at that time. But as soon as I got to speak with a priest and I opened up, I just exploded in tears, and it was tears of joy, of realizing that this is it. Why am I running away? And it was the inner light of knowing that the Lord was calling me, and like, no matter what. I told my parents. My dad was absolutely not happy. The week after that, I got a scholarship to Yale.
Oh,
and,
no.
Yeah. But I was like totally happy. I'm going to seminary. I don't care, whatever.
Wow.
And my dad was not happy. He didn't speak for me for 10 years after that.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I just put that in the hands of the Lord, asking the Lord to move the hearts of my dad. And fast forward to my last years of formation in Rome, I asked for prayers to St. John Paul II after serving Mass with him. And a week after that, I was going to be ordained a deacon in Rome. And I got the call from my dad that he were going, because they were so happy and proud. So it's been quite a journey, full of rides and
ups and downs.
Ups and downs, but always joyful, even in the difficulties.
So I guess the question I want to ask you, how have like the ups and downs, the disappointments and successes, how have those helped to form your understanding of yourself as a priest, but also your relationship with God? Can you, I feel like that's a huge question to ask, but
yeah, but it's I think it's an important question, because it's at the heart of discipleship, not just at the heart of being a priest. And when you are following Jesus, it's like the Paschal mystery of Jesus appears
Hmm.
throughout your life in different moments. And that means embracing the cross. And the Lord tells us, if you cannot embrace the cross and carry the cross, you cannot be my disciple. It's part of discipleship.
Hmm.
So the cross has been there present when I answered the call, and moments throughout my priestly formation and seminary, in my ministry, in different moments with difficulties with leadership and difficulties in ministry, and at times in very intense ways, for sure, that we're now looking back, they were an authentic cross. But the key in my journey has always been to realize that I don't have all the answers. God knows better. If he's called me and guided me through all these hardships throughout the years, he will figure it out for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just called to trust, put out into the deep, cast the nets, keep going, and trust in the Lord. I'm not God, and so I have to trust, and the Lord will take care of the difficulties. It's just like that anecdote of John the 23rd that maybe you've heard. St. John the 23rd used to go to bed every night, like with all the problems that the popes receives throughout the day from bishops around the world, etc. And he would just go pray before the Blessed Sacrament and say, Lord, I'm going to bed. You take care of the problems. This is your church.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that attitude and trusting that the Lord will really take care of the difficulties. And
Yeah. I find
Mhm.
that so freeing. Like when I can get into that space, which it's not always easy to get into that space, with everything weighing down. It's tough to sometimes say, I don't have to have all the answers. I don't have to fix everything, when it feels like I do. Like the boss is expecting it, the colleagues are expecting it, parents are expecting it, students are expecting it. There's so many expectations, both perceived and real, that sometimes it feels very heavy. But when I can get into that space, it's very freeing. When I'm working, now that I'm working in family faith formation, one of the things that I can see parents start to feel lighter when I let them know that they're not supposed to have all the answers, right? When their kids are asking questions, even your teenager or your college student, you're not supposed to have all the answers. It's like, it's actually good when you say, I don't know the answer, let's find out together, because then that shows that God continues to reveal himself to us.
Yeah.
And we're called to continue to learn about God and to be open to God's revelation to us. And so we're to continue to learn. And so it's like parents sometimes come in heavy and stressed, and I can see that. And then just you can see the stress kind of releasing from them when they realize that they're not supposed to have all the answers. It's just such a freeing thing.
And while you were saying this, I was thinking, in the end, this comes to realizing that this is a gift, that it's a gift from God that gives us the gift of trust, the gift of hope, the gift of enduring even through difficulties. Because sometimes I see colleagues in ministry, even brother priests, that face crisis in ministry, in their priesthood, and the mystery of how some just crumble in the middle of difficulties, and others, I don't know, I'm not the best, but at least I can thank the Lord that I realize that, Lord, you are the one helping me and moving me forward, and it's your gift. So I thank you, Lord, for gifting me with the gift of fidelity and perseverance.
One of the things that I come back to is Christ telling his disciples, that if you're unwelcome in a town, kick the dust from your sandals and move on.
Yeah.
Right. That comes back to me, like, if people aren't ready to hear, that's okay. This isn't your time to be there yet. Just keep moving. There's another place for you to be. I think that just a profound thing that Christ gives us in that scripture.
Yes.
You know,
So
kick the dust
let's
away.
let's trust and move on and
Yep.
stay joyful.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say for myself, it's the hardest times for me in ministry have been whenever I think I'm doing it myself. So, that's when the weight is heavy and it's crushing. Sorry, Sarah, to say that, but like,
Yep.
it's also, like you said, Father, it's a gift to have the trust, and the hope, but we can make the choice to invite the Lord into that with us and just say, Lord, I realize you have gifted me this moment. You have given me this place to be, and you will carry me and walk with me and flow through me. But we have to choose to be open to the
We are free
relationship
to
flow.
accept the gift or not.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Mm-hmm.
it
So,
comes that moment. Yeah.
so are there some things that we can do to help flex that muscle, so to speak? Like, things that we can do to practice to get better at accepting those moments, that choice, or to come to realize that we're in that moment to make the choice of hope and to make the choice of letting the Lord in and to being free in that moment.
I'd say a couple things without any order
Mm-hmm.
or it's not something intellectual that I'm sharing. I'm just sharing from the heart. One thing is truly prayer and silence.
Mm-hmm.
And in those moments, just being able to be still and open your heart and being silent to listen to what the Lord tells you, and even to cry and just put out your hardships in the presence of the Lord. And for me, it's being in front of the Blessed Sacrament and just being there. Just like the St. John Vianney that said, I'm there and he watches me and I watch him.
Wow.
He looks at me and I look at him. And just realizing that. But that's one thing. But the other thing that helps me is realizing that when I walk with other colleagues in ministry that are those that inspire me, that are faithful, that helps me so much in staying humble and knowing that there's hope. So it's important to surround yourself with good colleagues in ministry, with good brothers and sisters in discipleship. Hey, for a priest, it's very important to be surrounded by holy families, couples that inspire you, families that inspire you and that support you, not just because they support you with friendship, but their example of holiness. I could make a list right now. I'm not going to do that in a podcast, but a very specific families that I know that I can call friends, but it's the more important thing is that they're witnesses of God's holiness and God's love for me. And that's so helpful in the moments of difficulty to be able to walk with them. And it's important, especially for priests. We are celibate, and it's important to be accompanied also by families that are witnesses to holiness.
Thanks for saying that. I think that's helpful for people to understand that we all need someone to accompany us, no matter what stage or place that we are.
Even the Pope needs it, and he said it at times. Even bishops, and especially when you are in leadership, it's even more important because leadership can be at times lonely in having to make decisions, and so it's very important to be surrounded by those witnesses.
Yeah.
We're taking notes.
I am. I'm writing down what you're saying.
I'm saying it and reminding myself I really need to do this intentionally. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
What
that
about
loneliness, I'm so glad that you brought that up. That's really come up for me a couple times in the last couple of weeks. Those people who, I mean, there's an assumption that those who are in leadership are constantly surrounded by people, but
Mm.
while they might be surrounded by people, they might not be surrounded by those who are who listen to them or they can speak freely with, and I think that's a real distinction, and there's a real loneliness to that I'm just starting to get a sense of, and to see that there's a real need to have those authentic friendships and relationships with, and to step into that, finding a way to step into that and to fill that space.
You
Um,
know, all these resources like your podcast, all those ministry networks where they support leaders in ministry, etc. It's not just about the formation.
mm,
That is important,
Mhm.
and that helps us. But this accompaniment as brothers and sisters is so important, and
mhm.
perhaps even more important than just the intellectual formation for ministry.
Yeah. Yeah. And when we ask somebody, how are you doing?
Mhm.
Really be present in that question. And when
Yes,
they just say, I'm doing okay, or only okay, what's
exactly.
going on
And,
there, and being fully present to and hold the space for an honest answer there,
and hey,
you
and
know.
being present for your colleagues and
Hmm.
your brothers and sisters in ministry,
Mm-hmm.
and by hey, reach out in their anniversaries and their moments of
Mm.
joy, their victories, their wedding anniversary, their priestly anniversary,
Yeah.
Mm.
when they are transferred in ministry, where they get a new position, making ourselves present and sharing the joys is
Mm-hmm.
important.
Yeah.
And that opens the door for when there are difficulties, a text, a phone call, being present is so important.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
comes easier for some people than others. I have to like make notes, put it in the
I know.
calendar. I
I,
need like 4 different reminders. I need the reminder to buy the card. I need the
I know.
reminder to, write out the card. I need the reminder to mail the card. I need a reminder to.
Yeah, it's part of it. But hey, you're aware that there's
Yeah, but
that
I
need
think
to.
that it's an important this conversation though is an important reminder that those things mean something,
Yes, they do.
and when I receive things like that, like just there's a twinge of guilt, like, oh, I should be better at this. Well,
Yeah, I know.
yeah, I should be better at this, but just be on the receiving end too, okay, now that I've sat in this space of receiving this gift, okay, how do I then share this gift? What do I need to put, what can I put into place? What
Yeah.
will work for me to put into place? And it doesn't have to be all of these things. It doesn't have to be for everybody. Let's pick, 5 people that we want
Exactly.
to focus on this
Mhm.
year,
Yeah,
just 3 people, whatever it's going to be manageable for you. What is it going to be? Yeah.
Yeah.
so important. So
Very.
this is helping me by articulating all these things. It helps me. So thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Of course, anytime. We're here for
We're
you.
so
We're here
glad
to
you're
accompany
here.
you.
We're so glad that you're here.
Well,
We're
I
so
think there's something to be said too of, being known. And that's all, it's all those
Yeah.
little connections that you make with somebody, and having the space. It, when you are accompanying people, you could be the face of Jesus, but you could also be seeing the face of Jesus in them. I just think that brings so much joy. And I'm going to just take this moment to segue then into Hispanic ministry, Father, like your experience there, and what are the joys and successes that you've had with the Hispanic community in ministry?
Well, I've been blessed with having had the opportunity to be part of the big national initiative uh, that came from the U.S. bishops and Hispanic leadership at the national level, to call forth what is called the Fifth National Encuentro of Hispanic Ministry. That was like a process of accompaniment, of dialogue, of consultation, evangelization, and now the last stage is planning and going forth.
Yeah.
It was a big blessing to be part of the whole process, even the brainstorming to come up with the idea of convening the process and being there in the leadership at the local, regional level, at the national level, and now in a different platform, not in a position directly connected to Hispanic ministry, but in Catholic higher education, to make an impact because of the great numbers of young Hispanics that are being formed in our Catholic higher education institutions. So it's been a big blessing to be part of that adventure.
That's amazing. And also just your example, I think, of priesthood, because so many times I hear in different cultural experiences for folks, if they don't see someone in the role, whether that's as clergy or religious or even lay leadership, they need to have the example of someone in that role. So in the Hispanic communities, in our Black and African American communities, we in all of the various South Pacific Asian community, like we need leadership of every different shape, size, color, and creed, or not creed, but background, so that we can give our young people the example that there is a path for you and there's a place for you in the church.
Yeah, it's very important for our big numbers of young Hispanics throughout the nation to see that there are men and women following the calling of the Lord, and that, hey, I can also consider doing that. And we're living in a moment where the Hispanic Latinos are not there in the church just to be evangelized by the church. The big numbers now call the Hispanic Latino community to step it up. And in this moment, you are called to lead. Just as in a different moment in history, it was the Irish and the Italian Americans, etc. Now it's the numbers are calling for the Hispanic Latino community to step it up and serve the church, the wider church, not just the Hispanic community, but you're to serve the wider church.
And what can those of us who are in leadership, no matter our cultural background, what can we do to help support the Hispanic Latino communities that in this endeavor?
I say there's something very important in Hispanic Latino ministry that came from the influence of ministry throughout Latin America after Vatican II. And it was this, what we call in Spanish, pastoral de conjunto, which is this sense of doing ministry in collaboration together as church, where all ministries collaborate and work together for the common cause of evangelization. And it's been at the heart of Hispanic ministry here in the United States. And sometimes for mainstream diocesan ministries or offices at the diocesan or parish ministry, we see so many times that we work in silos, and collaboration is just sitting together at a table to organize an event. But it's understanding the way other communities live their faith, understanding how they live their faith in the family, how they walk together, understanding them and collaborating in this model that we call pastoral de conjunto. It's one church with so much diversity and so many models. And there's not just one model for evangelization. And sometimes this is a big temptation for ministries or organizations or to think that, oh, I have the solution for all the problems in the church and our ministry is the one. No.
Yeah.
diversity. The Holy Spirit inspires so many charisms and responses to
Mhm.
moment in history so that we can go out, and we need to collaborate and walk together,
Mhm.
learning from each other.
Mhm.
So that's been very
Beautiful.
important for me in Hispanic ministry.
Thank you
De
for that.
conjunto, pastoral de conjunto. I've heard that a couple of times now in
There you
in the work that we've done with journeying together and the fifth encuentro, and I want to say that it was in Christus Vivit as well,
Mhm.
especially in
Yes.
the Spanish translation. It didn't quite translate very well into English.
Yeah.
But if you look at the Spanish translation, it does well there.
You did your homework. I see. Good.
Yes. Actually, Jimena de Brock would be very proud of me for remembering that.
Very
She's the one
good.
that brought that up in a webinar I think we did a while ago. But no, and I think that that's really important reminder. And as I was sitting here, I'm like, yeah, but that's so difficult, and it takes so much time, and it takes so much effort. And that's where the adversary comes in, and he just likes these little pinprick kind of things that, yeah, it's going to take some time, and it's not going to look like it normally does, and it's going to, take us out of our routine and our comfort zone.
Yes.
It's going to take us out of our comfort, and that's where God really is calling us out of our comfort zone and into something even better, into
Yes.
something even greater. And I think that's the reminder is our comfort zone. We don't realize how small it is. We don't realize how constricting it is. Our God is bigger. Our God is greater than that. And these opportunities can really help us to get into those bigger and greater spaces. And what a gift our cultural communities really have for us. And the Hispanic leaders that are coming forth really have for us. So I look forward to the continuation of this journey. So I'm looking at our time. We have one final question for you.
Okay.
We ask this of just about everybody that comes on. What do you wish you knew when you started in ministry?
I wish I could have learned from the very beginning the importance of what I shared before about the importance of accompaniment and being there for with having known that from the very beginning, so that I would have been more attentive of the anniversaries of the couples that I presided at their marriages, at their weddings, of the young people that I was there for confirmation, and like being mindful from the very beginning of my ministry of the importance to remember and celebrate with them, because I do that with the young couples that I married in the recent years, because I've come to learn of the importance of doing that. But I wish I would have had the list from the very beginning of all the couples that I've accompanied and marriage prep and in difficult moments and visiting at the hospital when there was an accident. I know some younger priests nowadays, they kind of keep a log of those things, and it's like I wish I would have had that to like be able to be more present. But this is just one thing. It's we learn and we keep going forward with hope.
Yeah.
Amen.
Well, and the people that you remember now, I know really appreciate it. And those of us who see that you do that on social media and such, we celebrate with you and with those
Amen.
couples. So we're here for it. We're here for it.
So let's keep celebrating.
Yeah, we'll keep celebrating. All right, so that does it for us today. Thank you so much, Father Rafael. We're so grateful for you being here today and your words of wisdom. Christy, thank you for your wonderful questions. That's it for us today, folks. We look forward to seeing you on the next go round. See you later, everyone.
Peace.
God bless.
Thank you for joining today's podcast. Please click like and subscribe. And if you find this important to the conversations you're having in your local ministry, please share and join the conversation in the comments below. Thank you, and we'll see you next time on the Catholic Leadership Network podcast.